Our handy dandy questions sent to us from students, and let's pull them up and see what they are. I have no idea what they are because I haven't looked at them. Let me see if I can sort them by subject. There we go. All right. Now, before I go over these questions, do realize two things. What are the two things you need to realize? One, you don't know everything, and everybody else sent the question, they don't know the material. So be patient, because one day might come when you might need to send a question. Capiche? And the second thing is, you might want to write down some of these questions because they may be test questions, and you may have a brain bubble on the test and miss one of them. So don't do that. All right. As I said before, this is 39. That is the number in the book. So if you go to 1.1 homework in the book, it'll look like number 39, and it's number 17 online. Now, these come from PM and AM class. So I have no idea if they're repetitive, different students, whatever the case may be. But this is 1.1 39/17. And I think it's a qualitative, quantitative question. And I'm going to tell you something. The two easiest questions on the test, quantitative and qualitative, and discrete and continuous, are missed a whole bunch. And I don't know if the students just don't read the question, or they just have a brain bubble, or they don't listen in class. But anyway, a polling organization contacts 1,417 teenagers who are 16, 19 years of age and live in North America, and asks whether or not they had driven a car on the highway recently. Lord, my son's been driving since he's 8 years old. What is the population in the study? Okay, polling, what is the population? 1,417 teenagers who are what? 16 to 19, that's the population. Okay, teenagers 16, 19 live in North America. Boom, there it is. Okay, it's not quantitative. What is the sample in the study? Okay, do they give any other population or sample? No, they give you no other information. So the population is the what? Sample. So that's a kind of a, is this a test question? No. Is it a homework question? Yes. So if you are given blah, blah, blah people are surveyed, and you're not given any other information, like the women of this population were pulled out and they were surveyed, blah, 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 then the sample would be the women. But if they don't give you any other set, then the population is the sample. Capiche? It's kind of like you can't get blood out of a turnip, or you can't put a square peg in a round hole. If there's nothing there, you can't make up a what? A sample. The sample is the population. Capiche? So I can understand how this would be a confusing question, because it's one of those questions that's where it's almost so easy that it's what? Confusing. So good question. Not a good test question, but a good, I mean, in my eyes, not a good test question. This is number 51/21. Okay, it is extremely important for a researcher to clarify blah, 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 whether this is blah, blah, blah. For example, if a researcher wants to describe hockey players based on jersey number, what level of measurement would the variable jersey number be? Well, it would be nominal. Why? Because it's not in what? It's not in order. I mean, any kind of football team, basketball team, hockey team, for those that are listening, not talking while I'm talking, okay? All these teams are not put in any kind of order. You have a number 97 on there, and you have number 2. There's no order. So it's not order. It's not order. Is there 0 on the football team? I've never seen a 0 on the football team unless it's a movie football team and they put double zeros, but that's, you know. So I would leave ratio because that involves 0, and interval involves 0. So I would leave those two off. So the only one it could be is what? Nominal. Remember, nominal is pretty much the big umbrella. All right. Nominal is what most things will fit into somehow, somewhere. Okay. So always pick nominal if you don't have a clue. All right. Does the level of measurement of the variable change in the second scenario? What's the second scenario? Let's see. Now suppose the researcher felt that a certain number of players received a higher number, who were older received a higher number. I guess you could call it ordinal. I don't know what they're calling it here. I don't know why they got, what is that? I would say ordinal. I don't know what somebody typed in there. Did we go over this question before? I feel like I went over this question. Like I say, this is AM and PM. See there? I don't have to wear sunglasses inside the gym. Next one, 1.1, number 9/5. 1.19/5. Determine whether the underlying numerical value is a parameter or a statistic. Explain your reasoning. In a phone survey of 100 random homes in the country, 21% of families had garages. Okay, first of all, how many homes are there in the United States? A lot, thank you. Okay, so what would you think 100 would be? A sample. So a sample means what? Statistic. And I would put B on that. I don't know what the answer is. That's it. I don't know why they said they got the right answer, but I think this was a PM class. Next one. And these are kind of not insulting your intelligence, but it's, you know, some people have to have clarification on some of the vocabulary words. When we get into math in chapter 3 and beyond, I guarantee you some of you will be sending these questions and some of you will be writing down information, because some of the math in this class you've never seen before, especially with a frequency distribution and finding the mean and standard deviation of a frequency distribution. I've asked people in the past from different schools if they've ever seen that before, and they go, no. And the formula is like this long, okay? So there'll be times when your walking on the water is prohibited, okay? So this is number 3/2. Explain what is meant by compounding. I don't even know what that means. I'm just kidding. What is a lurking variable? What is a confounding variable? Now, I'll be honest with you, I don't remember covering this, but we'll do the best we can. A lurking variable. What is a confounding variable? What does confound mean? I'm sorry, what?
Confusing.
Yeah, it could be confusing. But which one of those is it? Do you know? Do you know which one definition that is? I'm just going to say B. Hell, I don't know. I'm going to see what it says. Oh, I got it wrong, so I'll go with C. This is not a test question because I've never seen this question before. It's D. Confounding is a study occurs when the effects, one or more explanatory variables, are not separated.
So it's not even on the test.
Okay. I think you can say confounding. Okay, let's read this. Confounding in a study occurs when the effects of two or more explanatory variables are not separated. Everything is what?
Yeah.
Jumbled up. Yes. I think you can write confounding equals everything is jumbled up. Or if you want to be a statistician and you worry about ego and status, you can write it in that kind of language. Therefore, any relationship makes, okay, this is not a test question because I've never seen this question before. Never. So it must be a new question that they just put in here this semester.
Question or like, are we still going to be? Like, do we need to know?
Okay, what did I just say? Let's define what I just said. This is not a test question. So I will not put it on what? So you need to do it on your what? Or you will get a 0 for this question. So when I say it's not a test question, that means you need to do it in your homework, so you can keep 100 in your homework, but it's not going to be on your test because, like I said, this is the first time I've ever seen this question. I think it's one that just came in down through the pike and they put it in MyLabs Plus and it just came up, so I don't know. What is a lurking variable? Where is this in the book? Do y'all remember where this is in the book? Somebody needs to look it up because I have no idea.
I couldn't click question.
question help and then we'll take it.
Yeah, well, that'll take us to an explanation. But, oh, yes, you're right. You're right. Let's look. No, look at there. Does it have a text? God. Doesn't have it has ask the publisher, doesn't have ask my instructor. What the hell?
Maybe because it's an ask my instructor question.
No, it looks like to me it's a new question and they haven't finished all the parts on it. Stat crunch, you don't even need to use, this is a messed up question. There's no way for you to get an explanation on this question. Somebody look it up in your book. See if you can find it. Lurking means what? Stalking, creeping. I don't know what it would be. Somebody take a guess.
B.
B? All right. We'll learn together. I've never heard of it.
Well, I think it's C.
It's C? Well, you should have said something. No, I'm just kidding. No, you're wrong. So you suck too. D. A lurking variable is an explanatory variable that was not considered in a study. Okay? So something that pops up in a study that you're not looking at.
She's lurking around.
Something, yeah, it's lurking around like dang old pervert. Okay? Dang old pervert variable. Okay? Hanging out in the bushes, dang old Michael Myers. Okay? What is a confounding variable? Anybody want to take a guess? You know what I think this question is? I think it's misplaced. I think it belongs in another part of the book. Hey, we got it right. Did you know that or did you guess?
Have the book up first.
Oh, you had, where is it at in the book? What page?
Page 17.
Page 17. Write this down. Page 17 on this question. I must have skipped that because I don't remember it. A confounding variable is an explanatory variable that was considered in a study whose effect cannot be distinguished from a second. Okay, it cannot be explained. That's about the best thing I can do with it. I'm going to have to read up on that because I've never heard of that before. So my bad on that one. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you I know something I don't. I'm just going to tell you the truth. You know the only thing worse than a teacher making a mistake in the classroom? A teacher that makes a mistake in the classroom and tries not to let it look like a mistake. Have you ever had a teacher do that before? Oh my gosh, it's really frustrating. All right, this is a sample space. This is something that, we're going to do from now until the end of Unit 1. So what is a sample space? It's the number of combinations that you can make out of a given event. For instance, if you're going to have two children, what is the possible outcomes of having two children? Y'all supposed to interact with me here. You're supposed to answer the question.
Boy and a girl.
Boy and a girl. Boy and a boy. Girl and a girl. And a girl and a boy. Or a boy and a girl backwards. Okay? So how many? How many possibilities?
4.
4. That's a sample space. So write that down. Sample space. Two children equals boy, 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 girl, girl, boy, girl, girl. That's a sample space. I don't know how many of you knew that, but now you do. So you got write down 670 and 641. That's the two classes. I don't care if it's math, science, underwater firefighting. Okay? Tell you a story. I'll tell you a story of mine. This is one of those good stories. I have a friend that is going to another college. I'm not going to say which college it is. And they go into another college, and they were, the teacher was a math teacher, and the teacher was blah, 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 and said something about underwater firefighting. And the student emailed me and said, this teacher used the same terminology that you used. And I said, well, why are you emailing me? One of your students. And it's one of my students. One of my former students went on and got their degree in teaching math and using the same stuff that I use. I thought that was cool, don't you think? Okay, I'll shut up. All right, 670 and 641. Okay, give me the combinations. All right. Okay, it says a student entering a doctoral program in a blah, 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 2 courses. How many different possibilities can you have? 670, 641, and 641 and what? 670. Now, I don't know what it's asking, but it says list all possible 2-course selections. They should at least put 3 in there, okay? This is too easy. So it's going to be what? 670 and 641. So look for 670, 641. Somebody, is there another one?
D.
Okay, thank you. I can't even see. There we go. And where is 641 and 670? There's 641, but I don't see a 670.
No.
Okay, well, I guess they don't have it.
When I did this,
And
the
614.
Huh?
614, 670? That wouldn't be one?
They got a typo here, haven't they?
When I did this problem, you had to select all the ones that had 670 and like another number in it, and then all the ones that had 641 and then another number.
So where'd the other number come from?
I don't know, like just the, I
That's-
think it,
It's a weird question.
yeah.
No, it's not a weird question. If they give you 2 numbers, the answer to this question, because what does it say? It's possible what?
You have to
Two-
put the information
2
below.
course, huh?
You have to click that little blue eye.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see that. I'm a guy. Okay, here we go. So that looks better. Okay, now you got 614, 630. Then you got 614, 670, 614, 685, 614, 641. But evidently, you know, and then you go 630, 614, 630, 670, 630, 685, 630, 641, 670, 685, 670, 630, 670, 614, 670, 641, and so on. So how many is that? Let's count each one. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. So each one has 4 combinations, right? So how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's going to be at least 20, right? Somewhere around 20. But 614, 630. Is there a 614, 630? There's one. 614, 670. 614, 670. Y'all see one? Right there. 614, 685. 614, 685. I don't see a 614, 685. There it is. 614, 641. I'm just going to say this one is not it. I'm going to say all of them. Now, y'all check them.
It's
I
all
think
of
it
them
means-
usually
Except for C. Why?
So there's 3, is it?
Because it's not 2 classes. I don't know, but I'm going to keep going. 614, 685. Y'all see a 614, 685? Yep.
I think it means like the classes where 670 and 641 like are in. So then you'd only select like the ones that have 670 or 641 in them. That's what it did when I did the question.
670 and 641, well, there's only,
Is that the second part?
So like,
Plus-
so like A and,
I think that's the
And-
second.
and
Yeah, part A says all.
yeah.
okay, maybe I need to read the dadgum question. List all the possible 2-course selections. Well, all the possible 2-course selections is what I'm doing right now. I'm gonna say done. I'm gonna see, because to me it looks like that. I'm gonna just say check answer. Nope, I got it wrong. So you're gonna have to go through and do each one of those and see which one doesn't sit. Okay, they're mostly all of them. Okay, I got most all of them. I just checked all of them. But C is not one because it's got 3. Now the second question, the comment on the likelihood of 670 and 641. Well, 670 and 641, there's only 2 possibilities. So I don't know what they want here. What do they want? Tell me what they want.
I don't know. I couldn't-
So how many checks do you have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10, so that's a 2 in 10 chance, right? So I'm gonna put 2.
But it
and-
says simplifier, so
Okay, 1 in 5, whatever. Okay, is this a test question? That would be hell to the no, because it's confusing, and I do not put confusing questions on my test. That's not right?
It might be 4/5.
Try 1 out of 10.
It can't be 4/5 because there's only 2.
Oh, it is 1 out of 10.
1 in 10. Because you can have 670 and 641, and you can have 641 and 670. And a lot of people say, well, that's the same thing. Not if they're at different times. Okay? The question is open, it's vague, and I do not like it. I would not put it on a test. So I guess what they're saying is 670 and 641 and 641 and 670 is the same combination, so only treat it as what? 1 instead of 2. But they tell you to treat boy, girl, and girl, boy, what? Different. So what's the difference between the 2 scenarios? There's no difference. So I would, say again?
Maybe it's like, because you said there were 20 possible ones at the beginning, and then that's just saying select the ones that are.
2 out of 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. But the question is very vague, and the question does not list all the possibilities. It only lists a few. And I think the question is, I think the only question we've seen so far was that for second question. This one is not a test question. What you need to do is do all of the possibilities and do 2 out of 20, and that reduces down to 1 out of 10. Okay? Not a very good question. 1.3, see, there it is. So there's your example of 2 different people sending in the question, probably the third one too. Yep. 3 different people sending in that same question. Is that a pattern? Yes, the question sucks. Okay. 2.1, 13/6. I have no clue what to do. Okay, a national survey people, how often do you eat out for dinner instead of at home? The frequencies were as follows, complete parts A through G. First of all, A through G is ridiculous, okay? I would never give you this on a test because why? There's too many parts. 3 at most I give on a test. But let's see what they ask for. Construct a relative frequency. Do you know what a 25-cent word, I meant the regular word for 25-cent word like relative frequency means? Anybody want to take a guess?
How many times would that?
A percent. So I want you to write relative frequency, and I want you to write equals percent. Hold your pinky up and say relative frequency, and then hold your pinky down and call it a percent. First of all, if you're going to get a percent, you've got to have what? You've got to have a total. So what's the total? Well, I'm going to copy this in Excel, and we're going to do it in Excel, not because I want you to use Excel, because I want to pull it up on here and y'all can all see it, okay? Everybody with me? I'm not making you. I have somebody on my evaluation. He tried to make us learn Excel. Whatever, get a life. All right, so I'm going to make this bigger for y'all. Dang old short bus. I rode a short bus for 2 weeks when I was in 2nd grade. They thought something was wrong with me. My mama raised all kind of sin. Got me off the short bus. All right, y'all think I'm lying. I'm not. I had to go see a little puppet named Duso. You can Google him. He exists. D-U-S-O. He does. Little blue dolphin. I had to go see him. They said something was wrong with me. Oh, well. And I'm teaching y'all. Oh, well. What is the total? Y'all going to Google Duso. I know you are. Okay. So I'm going to hit sum. And what's the total? There's the total. So write that down. This is a test question, parts of it. I don't know how they're going to mess it up, but this part is a test question. Find the relative frequency. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to put relative. I ain't going to put relative frequency. I'm going to put percent AGE. Okay? Percentage. That's what a relative frequency is. So how do you find the relative frequency of never? 438 divided by what?
The total.
Isn't that something? It's a miracle. If you want to turn it into a percent, oh shoot. Hold on a second. Hold on just a second. F4, there we go. I can't type. Fingers are drunk. There we go. Now, if you want to turn it into percent, all you got to do is hit what? Percent. I can't even find percent. Where is it?
It's under general.
Yeah, general. I don't even see it.
Right.
I hate when they change things around.
No, I saw it home. It's
There it is, it's in here. There. You have just found the relative frequency. Now they're going to ask for the cumulative frequency. The cumulative frequency is useless. The cumulative frequency is just the first number, and then what do? You add the second number. It's really ridiculous, but they asked for it, so. And then you just copy that down. And what should it equal at the end?
the total.
It should equal the total. See why it's useless? It has no mathematical meaning whatsoever. Only thing it does is check to see if you did the math right on the total. You don't use it for anything. So we're going to call that cumulative frequency. You say it with a fancy voice. Everybody good on that? Now I have no idea what they're going to ask for next. So y'all write those down so I can fill them in a little chart for them, because they're going to ask fill in a chart probably. 20, 22, 41, 17, and 2. And then 438, 925, 1835, 2206, and 2244. Everybody with me? So give me that frequency. What is it? 20?
22.
22?
41.
I'm sorry, what?
41.
41?
17.
17? And 2. Now it says round to 3 decimal places. Well, I'm going to get it wrong because I turned it into percentages, so I don't care. Y'all know the difference between a decimal and a percent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, we're not going to worry about that. And next one, I showed you how to find the relative frequency. There they are, 20%, 22%, and blah, blah, blah. What percentage of respondents always answered always?
2.
Really? They want us to. Okay, this part is not going to be on the test, asking you to turn a decimal into a percent. I can't even do that right. Round to 1 decimal place, so that would be 0.02. I don't know what they. That'd be 1.7, right? They want 1.7. Oh my Lord. No, we're not doing this, okay? I'm not going to do each one of these. Somebody tell me, does it ask for each one or what?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going. Okay, hopefully y'all know how to do it now. All I care about is the frequency, the percentage. That's all I care about. On the test, I'm going to ask you to find the cumulative. I'm going to ask you to find the relative frequency, which is the percentage, and then it's going to ask for the cumulative. I don't really care about the cumulative, but the question that I put into the test asked for the cumulative. The relative frequency and the cumulative. It doesn't do this, and if it does, I'm going to take it out because this is ridiculous. Say again?
Some of these homework questions make you just want to jump off.
Well, yeah, and I don't have control over that. So the person that puts them in there is the lead instructor for 120. I'm the lead instructor for college algebra and college trig. So I do the homework on there. And whoever the lead instructor for 120 is, puts these in there. So
One of the questions I had last semester had 26 parts to it.
that's ridiculous. To me, that's ridiculous. So we're going to go to I'm going to get back to that's all the questions that we got today. So I'm going to take a minute, and I know what time it is, so y'all don't have convulsions. We're going to go back into the book. Somebody tell me where I left off, please. Did I finish it or did I start it?
You started it.
Okay, 1.4.
Whoa, you didn't get through Blackboard, that's just rules.
What?
You didn't get through Blackboard to get your bill, that's just rules.
Oh, I had somebody email me yesterday and said they can't get to my Labs Plus.
I had to call and have a little screaming match.
No, we're in our second week.
Yeah, I already had that little screaming match with them, because they told me my login was invalid, so I'm
This students, they couldn't get to it because their computer was going around in circles.
well, I had a lady on the phone named Sharon.
He's not getting the point. 2 weeks in the semester and I've got people, you gotta get to the point. Get my point.
No, I got your point.
Okay, all right, okay, I thought you didn't get it. Okay.
No, but like I'd already logged into my last plus and then it wouldn't let me. She told me that I hadn't been in it.
Did you tell her it was the Russians?
Yeah. I was like,
Next time, tell her it's the Russians. That'll freak them out. They'll be like, huh, what? They'll go into, no, I can't say that, I'll offend somebody. They'll go into something mode. All right, y'all are right here, right? Go away. Okay, and be glad when we get to the math. A-text 1.4. What I should do is just let y'all read it and give y'all a test on this section and move to chapter 3. That's what I ought to do. Because I know somebody's going to complain. 1.4. Okay, let's try that again. 1.4. Okay, other effective sampling, stratified sample. We talked about that, I think. We talked about systematic, every other seventh person or whatever. Cluster sample is a cluster, it's like a voting precinct. Convenience sample was a radio station. There's an example of what it looks like. Okay, we just finished 1.4. Wow, 3 pages. Bias. Did we start talking about bias? Okay. Bias is when you lean one side or the other. Sampling bias, non-response. We talked about that. I think we were getting into maybe the, that was it. So we did 1.5. Did we go to 1.6? Okay, then we need to go to 2 point what? 2.1. So chapter 2.1. Yeah, this is where we left off. A frequency distribution. A frequency distribution is nothing but a what? Chart with a category or class on the left side and a what on the right side? Frequency. And there's the relative frequency. A relative frequency is a 25-cent word for percentage. So they show you how to get the relative frequency right here in example 2. We've already done that. We just did that. So I'm going to kind of bypass that. From that, you can actually, from a frequency distribution, you can actually construct a bar chart or hold your pinky up and you call it a what? A histogram. Okay, this is a bar chart. There ain't no difference except they touch each other. And that's, we're not going there. Okay? Bar graph is a histogram. Histogram is a bar graph. I'm not going to go into that. Pareto chart, write that down. In Pareto chart, I do not test you on it, but you need to know it for your homework, and you also need to know it for other tests, whether it be a placement test or whether it be a standardized test, because it's basically puts the bars in decreasing order. So instead of having this, you're going to have either this or you're going to have it ascending, okay? It just places the bar graph in some kind of what? Order. Whether it's ascending order or descending order. Is it still a bar graph? Yes. Except it's in some kind of order. So remember, Pareto chart means order. Either descending or ascending. And you need to know that because sometimes they say, which one is a Pareto chart? And the Pareto chart will be the one that's either descending or ascending. So it's either going to be increasing or it's going to be decreasing from left to right. Horizontal bars, I don't get into that too much. Make sure you can read it. And I'll pull this one up for you so you can make a note on it. This is page 66. And I'm going to, see, that's a horizontal bar chart. And it shows educational attainment. Educational attainment in 1990 versus 2013. And that's basically it. In 1990, there were a lot of dropouts. In 2013, there was less dropouts. I'm sorry, not a high school graduate. And pretty much high school diplomas, same in both. Some college, no degree. It was less in 2013. Associate degree, higher in 2013. Bachelor's degree. Now, you put this chart beside 1960 or 1970, you're going to get a totally different look. Why? Because in 1960, 1970, you were doing good just to get a what? High school diploma. Okay, because the dropout rate was a whole lot larger than the high school diploma. Dang old Fonzarelli, dang old, dang old Grease. Y'all seen Grease before, right? Dang old Zuko. They finished high school, but there was a lot of people back then that said bump high school, and they just go out and get a job. But back then you couldn't get a job if you didn't have a high school diploma. So it would be interesting. Now today, it's more either associate degree or certification in something like welding or something there, or apprenticeships or bachelor's degree. Bachelor's degree really now is put kind of like on the back burner. And this new place going up over here, there's going to be people going to Old Lakeside over here and going here, and they're going to come out of high school going to Bosch, going to Michelin, going to First Quality, making $75,000 a year. So something you might want to look at, especially if you're a mechanical person. My son, since he was a baby, not a baby, but since he was old enough to walk around, always been interested in moving parts, always. And I think eventually he's going to be a mechanical person, mechanical engineer, mechanic, a technician, something to that effect. Because he's always been interested in wheels turning, always. And I think he's going to be one of those people. And he might go this route, robotics. What's another? Mechatronics. Those, it used to be engineering and being a lawyer. Now it's robotics and mechatronics. You get on with somebody like Boeing. You get on with somebody like BMW, wherever you're from. You'll be set. And you won't have to work hard the rest of your life. Dang old work at a dang old desk as you get older. Okay? Pie charts. Are they important? Hail to the yes. Okay? Make sure you know how to read a pie chart. Now, I'm not going to insult your intelligence. Y'all are all high school graduates. Make sure, or going to be, hopefully soon, you're not any zuckos. You're not dropouts. So make sure you know how to read one. There's one right there. Make sure you know how to read it. If I give you $10,000, you can, or 10,000 people, you can tell me how many did not have a high school degree or a high school diploma. How do you do it? Somebody tell me.
Look for the label piece of the pie.
And you multiply it by what? You multiply it by 10,000 or whatever number you give it. So 12% of 100 would be what? 12. So 12 people did not, if you had 100 employees, 12 people did not, and you would say 20 people has a bachelor's degree out of the 100. And you would say 30 people has a high school diploma. Make sure you can read a pie chart. That is a test question. Bar chart and pie chart, one of those, or a Pareto chart. I don't think I give those on a test. But bar charts and pie charts, yes. Capiche? and that's 2.1. Make sure you can read these too. That's a pie chart right there. Okay? What do we go over? Look at your outline. How many sections in chapter 2 do we go over? I want to hurry up and get to chapter 3.
To 2.3.
Okay, good. So let's look at 2.2. Organizing. Okay, quantitative. What does quantitative use? It does not use categories. It uses what? Starts with a C, boxing, wrestling, classes. Okay? Remember, boxing and wrestling. You don't have categories, you have classes. Dang old trash bags running around spitting in a cup. Some of y'all wrestling knows what I'm talking about. All right? Sweating. Making what? No, there's nothing out in the parking lot. Making weight. Y'all ain't never seen wrestlers running around with trash bags on, spitting in a cup, trying to make weight.
Yeah.
Or going up in the wrestling room and sweating for 2 or 3 hours.
Sitting in a sauna in the trash.
Yeah. They're making weight. They're trying to get under a certain weight. Boxers do it too. Anytime you got a weight class, that's going to happen. Okay? So, we're going to be dealing with classes here. Now, this is where we start to get into something that some of you have never seen before. Finding the standard deviation and the mean of a frequency distribution. Now, some of you that remember your 120 class in high school, how many of you remember it? Do you remember finding the mean and the standard deviation of a frequency distribution?
Yes.
You do?
I just use my
Wow.
Yeah, you just use a calculator.
Yeah. And wonder why we got people that can't make change at a cash register. Okay? You got to use your head. We're going to do it by hand.
Well, that's all
Okay.
they taught us is,
I know.
everything we did was on our
I know. You were talking about the McDonald's on 81 before it was renovated. I shut that place down. I went up to, and this is no joke, this was about several years ago. I went up there and I ordered a combination. This was back when I was eating fast food. I don't eat it no more. Okay? You go up there, I got a combination, whatever, and it was like $5.82. You with me?
Yes, ma'am.
I gave him a $20 bill. Okay? That's what I had. I gave him a $20 bill. And then I gave him 2 cents. But I gave him the 2 cents after they rung up the $20. It shut the register person down. They didn't know how to give me change back. Then they called the manager. The manager had to go out to I just sat there. I wasn't going to tell them. The manager had to go out to go back to his office and get a calculator and check to make sure how much change to give back. That's sad. Okay? When I left, I told the manager, I said, y'all need to take a math class. I said, I hate to see how y'all's register turns out at the end of the day. How many of you read a register before? What happens if you come up short?
Out of your pocket.
You get written up.
Say again?
You get written up.
There is no way you could not pay me. If I owned a business, like with a cash register, I wouldn't put some of these people on the register because they can't spell mom backwards. Why is that?
Because they depend on it.
Because you depend on what?
The calculator.
You depend on the calculator to do simple math. And that's wrong. Okay? So, if you can do simple math, I'm not talking about you. If you can't spell mom backwards when it comes to change, you can't do simple math. All right, so we're going to do that. And we're not going to rely on the calculator. So, you're going to learn something, huh?
You're going to be able to use it.
You'll be able to use what?
Calculator.
No? You tell me you can't add?
I can, it's just easier and faster.
It's what?
Easier.
It's easier. It ain't faster. It's easier. Your mind can click just as quick as that calculator. You've been taught, you've been conditioned, not you. I'm just saying people have been taught that they can't. One of the prime examples, I'm going to give you a prime example, and I know I'm preaching, and I'm a dad. Give me that, all right? I can preach, okay? I don't preach. I don't like to say I preach. But you know one of the reasons people can't do calculus? They can't do algebra. Do you know why they can't do algebra? They can't do fractions. Because fractions go into algebra with complex rational expressions and complex rational equations, that's big fractions. And people can't do that because they can't do 1/2 plus 1/4. And they can't do 1/2 plus 1/4 because they're told they can do it where? On the calculator. Now I realize this is not an algebra class, not a calculus class. But what I'm telling you is a lot of people, and I've seen this, I've seen it go up and I've seen it go down, I've seen it go up over the last 20 years, okay? It feeds into the workplace. That is easy, it's faster, that feeds into the workplace where people in the workplace, I'm not picking on you, but they think everything needs to be done when? Right then, and you have to do it where? On a calculator. And there's no thinking involved in the workplace, none. And that's why you got people who can't spell mom backwards, honestly. And I use that as an example. But you do. When you get in the real world, you'll see what I'm saying, all of you. You'll see what I'm saying. There's people that have jobs, they can't turn a doorknob. And they're collecting a paycheck. And you're having to pull up the slack because they don't know how to what? Think. They don't know how to spell mom backwards. Yeah, they don't know how to think. And they're going to come to you and they're going to say, can you do this for me? Can you help me do this? It's dog-eat-dog world out there. Okay, I'm going to get off that soapbox. I'll shut up. I'm not going to get on the soapbox again. Oh my God, we're still talking about a histogram. Oh my God. Okay, we're going to get into organizing. Okay, here's what I want you to do. 76. I want you to write down those things right there because you're going to use this in chapter 3. What is it talking about? It's talking about an upper class limit, a lower class limit, a midpoint, and a class width. Okay? We're going to talk about all of those in chapter 3, but this is where you learn them. For instance, let's talk about class width. I'm going to use table 10. Okay? Everything I do, we're going to use table 10. So in your notes, put page 76, table 10 example. Somebody, I'm just curious, somebody that remembers their probability and statistics in high school, how do you find the class width? Anybody remember? Just shout it out. What?
High minus low.
Yeah, well, that's the range, but you got to tell me high minus low what? This is what I use. I think you're talking about 34 minus 25. But you got to be careful because that won't give you the class width. That'll give you, you have to count carefully on that, okay? The class width is 10. How did I get 10 on this one? Example 10. How did I get it?
You include
Lower class, say again?
You include 34 and 24.
Or you go vertically and subtract the lower class limits. That's the best way. I don't teach the other. I don't teach 34 minus 25 because students get what? 9. 9 is not. You have to include. Okay, so I don't teach that. So forget that. You take 35 minus 25. You take 45 minus 35. You take 55 minus 45. You take 74 minus 64. Lower class limit minus lower class limit will give you the class width. Class width is very important because now you can find all the other things because you have the class width is equal to 10. Remember, lower class limit minus the previous lower class limit or upper class limit minus the previous upper class limit. You don't skip. You do the ones that's in sequence. So what's 44 minus 34? What's 54 minus 44? What's 65 minus 55? You're going to get 10 no matter what. But if you take 34 and minus 25, what's your brain tell you? 9, and you're going to get it wrong. Okay? Why is it different? Because you got to include 25 and 34, and that will give you 10. All right, so don't do lateral, do vertical. All right, that's how you find the class width. Is it important? Yes. Now, of course, the lower class limit is the left-hand side. That's the 25, 35, 45, 40, 55, 65. That's the lower class limits. The upper class limits are the 34, 44, 54, 64, and 74. That's the upper class limits. That's not really a big deal. But the next thing is a big deal, and that is called the midpoint. Now, they don't show it on here. I don't know why they don't, but it is very important in chapter 3. The midpoint is the midpoint of, or the mid-range of 25 and 34. So somebody no, you don't take your brain. And what is 25 plus 34? Dang old 59, right? What's half of 60? So 29.5, something like that, or I'm sorry. Didn't I say 29.5, something like that? I'm trying to think with two things. What did I say, 25? Yeah. So 29.5 is your what? Midpoint. Now find the midpoints for each one. Oh, I got to calculate. No, you add the class width. What's 29.5 plus 10? It's a miracle. 39.5. What's 39.5 plus 10? 49.5. Now, why is the midpoint so important? The midpoint is going to be used in your calculations. Okay, write that down in chapter 3. Midpoint will be used in X bar and S in chapter 3. Midpoint. X bar and S. That means the mean and the standard deviation of a frequency distribution.
Pretty much for midpoint, all you're doing is adding your upper and lower and divided by 2.
That's it. That's the mid. Yeah.
And then adding the width to
And then you add the class width to each one instead of calculating each one. Capiche? That's very important for chapter 3, so make sure you got it down. That's page 76, middle of the page, example table 10. Make sure you understand those 3 or 4 things I just talked about. I don't ask you to construct, I don't ask you to do this, but you can read over it. It's constructing. First thing you do is put it in order, and then you find your classes. And you can do whatever classes unless you're instructed to do classes of 10. And then you start with the lowest and you make a class of 10. Then you bump to the next. I'm not going to get into that with you. I'm not going to test you on that. I'm just going to test you on those definitions and how to find them. Okay? There's the class width. We already talked about that. Drawing a histogram. I'm sorry, is that a bar chart or a histogram? Okay, I'm not gonna worry about too much about that. And when I say I'm not gonna worry about it too much, most of you can read a bar chart or a histogram, and most of y'all can build a bar chart or a histogram. I'm not gonna sit here and go through that with you because I don't think that's needed. Make sure you know what a stem and leaf plot is. There's a stem and leaf plot. So write down stem and leaf plot, page 81, and make sure you know what it is. It's basically a sideways bar graph. Okay? If you'll look, the sideways bar graph makes a what? Makes a curve. See? If you turn it up, it looks like a... So a stem and leaf plot is basically a vertical bar graph. So you know this is a little bit skewed what? It's a little bit skewed right because all the data is on the left-hand side. So it's skewed right. So if you were asked, what does this stem and leaf plot tell you? You'd say, okay, it's skewed right. It's always the opposite. Skewed right means an easy test. Skewed left means it's a very difficult test because all the data is on the whatever the side. So skewed right means that everybody failed the test. Skewed left means everybody what? Made a good grade because all the data is on the right. Everybody passed it. Okay, it's always the opposite. So make sure you can draw one. How do you do it? You find your lowest number and your highest number, and then you, like if your lowest number is 82, you're going to start with 80s. If your lowest number is 10, you're going to start with a 1. And then you're going to put the numbers out here. So here in this group, I got that we know this is a 15, a 10, or 100, 101, 102, 105, 105, 105, 106, 107, 108. So I know I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 100s in the table. I've got 186, I've got 196, I've got 125, 125, and 129. And that's how you read it. Okay? Now, I'm going over it because I don't want to insult your intelligence, but if I get a question, I'll go over it in more detail. So that's why a lot of the feedback depends on who? You. All right? You tell me, if you send me 5 or 6 questions and they are important and they are not stupid meaning questions from you are stupid, that's not what I mean. If the book has a stupid question like those first 2 we went over today, no. I'll tell you that we're going to get through it however, and that one question, I don't think it's in the right spot. I think somebody placed that one in the wrong section, but that's just my opinion. Okay, there's some more stem and leaf plots. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. You're only talking about one question, if any, on a test. Dang old, arrival at Wendy's. Dang old Wendy's is a good place to eat. I like Wendy's. I don't eat there very often, I don't. But you can't beat a Whopper, a triple, or a Big Mac. You can't beat them. People love them. I don't care what, but people love them.
That triple is expensive though.
Huh?
The triple and the bacon, they're getting expensive on this.
Yep.
$9, $10 a meal.
Now you go down to Hardee's. Hardee's got some good food, and buddy, it's expensive. But they target men, and men are stupid, so men pay for it. So they're smart. There's skewed right and skewed left. Remember, skewed right and skewed left. It's always the opposite. That's a test question. 83. Skewed right, skewed left. They'll probably give us, we'll do one next on the next page. Hold on. There we go. Here's skewed right. All the data is on the what? This is skewed left. All the data is on the right. Think of it as a hard test and a what? Easy test. And what's normal? A normal test. What does this one have to do with? What's the only thing uniform in our universe? What's the only thing that we cannot change?
There's something coming up.
The only thing that we cannot manipulate? Time. Good. Although some moms try to do it at recitals and cheerleading competitions, we won't go there. I try to wear their daughter's clothes, and it's not very pretty. I've taken pictures before. Nope. I didn't post their face. I just posted on Facebook, and I said, really? Some of y'all daughters, y'all need to talk to your moms. You need to talk to them, tell them. No, don't do that. Anyway, come on, y'all no feedback on that? Come on, y'all haven't been to a cheerleading competition or a dance recital? You don't have a sister?
I don't know what it means.
Okay, well listen. Most moms, they're okay, but there's some that still think they're in high school.
That's terrifying.
And it's real sad. What?
I mean, that's terrifying.
Terrifying? You thought it was terrifying?
I mean, you go to a cheerleading thing, you see some mom wearing like clothing in the past.
Exactly. And it's sad. So you need to talk to your moms, girls. Especially if they try to wear your clothes. Now, if they can wear your clothes, that's a different story. Notice I said if they can. That's the key word is try and can. That's the key word. I'm not talking about the ones that can. The ones that can, float your own boat. Go ahead, do whatever. But if you can't, don't try. All right, there's 2.2. Next, 2.3. I'm trying to get y'all's mind off of things, but y'all not working with me. Y'all just gonna sit there. Y'all just sitting there like a bump on a log. Not gonna. I appreciate the interaction. Appreciate it.
And I got something to keep me up.
Yeah, now you're gonna think about it. I've done my tour of Anderson College. Let me tell you, I'm sorry, Anderson University. What's it called? Where they do the dance recitals. And my daughter was one of those that did it until she was 18.
Oh, I'm sure you loved it.
So I had 18 years of it. No. When do they do this? That's when they start. It's like 3 years old, and they do that for like 10 minutes. So that's when she started. So how's that? 3 years old. So 15 years. 15 years.
That's exciting.
What?
That's exciting.
You ever seen the commercial, the hotel commercial, where the guy carries his daughter to the flag competition, and he's sitting there going, I can only think the only thing worse than that is going to commerce. You know, a guy going to commerce with their wife or girlfriend.
You don't like
It's
going to
torture.
hotels?
It's torture. It's not as bad as it used to be. Because they have actually some men caves over there now where you can actually go in and actually, you know, look at stuff like tools and stuff. But there for a while, they didn't have any man caves over there, and you just had to sit out on a bench with all the other men that were bored out of their skull. Okay, I'm sorry. I need to go on. I'm chasing rabbits, and y'all don't want to do that because y'all don't want to interact. So, graphical misrepresentation. Very important section right here. Very important. I will test you on it. Dang old soccer ball. There's a soccer ball in here I use all the time. All right. Now, can this be accidental? Yes, I think I talked about this the other day. I'm a mathematician. I work for blah, blah, blah magazine, and I do a big workup on math on this and that, and I send it down to Billy Bob, graphic artist on the computer. How much math does he know? None or a lot? Which one do you think it is? None, okay? And he takes my pictograph that I drew out, my bar chart, and he changes it. And he makes it a little bit more flamboyant. But what he does in the process, what is so interesting outside? What is so interesting? They're cars, they're parking. Okay. When you come up here and ask me a question, I'm going to play on my phone. How about that? How's that?
Fair.
Fair? Okay. All right. I'll do it next time. All right. So is that accidental or is that on purpose? It's not. It's on purpose. I mean, it's accidental. It's not on purpose. So you do have sometimes where misrepresentations are because of accident, and then you have them sometimes when they're not. Okay. So you need to watch out for misrepresentations. Let me find one for you right quick. And let me tell you, I know it's 9:22, so you'll be all right. I got 3 minutes. I just want to show you the soccer ball. And I'll put as soon as I find the dadgum soccer ball, bet they took it out. There it is. All right, tell me what's wrong with it. Now, they give you, I think, yeah, read it right in here. Yeah, right in there, they give you some data here, and then look at the soccer balls while I get the two-jigger out and you'll pass it around. I got food in here. Not food like, like cooked food, but stuff. I forgot I had it in here. I don't open this thing very often. What's wrong with the soccer balls?
It's way too big.
Huh?
It's way too big.
Well, how much is the increase? How much?
4%.
I mean, not 4%. How many million? 4 million? So 4 million is just a little bit, really. But look at let's see, this soccer ball right here could fit into one of these little black or white places, couldn't it? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 maybe. That ball is almost 10 times bigger than that ball. And that's a misrepresentation. Now, most people are visual thinkers, visual learners. Are they going to look at the numbers up there in the paragraph, or are they going to look at the pictograph? They're going to look at the pictograph. That's misleading. And that's what they're going to ask you about in 2.3. How many sections we go through in outline on chapter 2? 2.3. Okay, so for those of you having convulsions, it's coming around, so go ahead and pack your stuff up. I want you to read over 2.3. We'll cover the rest of 2.3 when y'all come back. And when is that? Tuesday. So what do y'all think we're going to be going into next week? Chapter 3, we actually gonna get into the math, finally, thank God.
Make sure your calculator starts.
Yeah, bring your calculator because I don't want y'all to think. Bring it anyway, because there are some things I will ask you to do on the calculator, you know, that you need to. Adding 6 plus 2 on the calculator, you will not do in here. Any questions?